All right, guys, we're back with our next Mazda Monday. Today we're gonna find out if short ram air intake can outperform a stock airbox or a modified variant of the stock airbox. So I already got the results. I did it already. It's about 8 p.m. over here, so I'm getting a little bit better. Not 11 p.m. like last time. And the video isn't as good as I promised with the quality, but it's getting better. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go straight into the into the results. We're not gonna beat around the bush. We're gonna go straight into it. So, but just so you know, the dyno, I didn't calibrate it for my car for these runs. So there was a BRZ on the dyno before I got there, and I actually did a run just to see what the numbers were, and they were lower because it's calibrated for a different car. And in my head, I thought about, well, since the average car, like a Skyactiv car, isn't going to be making 250 wheel horsepower, I'd rather use the BRZ's calibration to give us a better estimate. So you're going to see on here, the first run is going to be 208, right? My car makes over 250 wheel horsepower on that same dyno. But what we want to do is I want to kind of give you a better idea of what kind of power you're going to be making, because most of you guys are not supercharged. So if I see 2 horsepower out of 250 horsepower gain, there's a chance you won't see anything if your car is like, 200 horsepower or less. So what I did was, I had the idea in my head. I'm like, all right, well, let me leave this calibration alone here because it doesn't matter if I recalibrate it, because I'm going to go for a percentage of gains, right? So the first run, you're going to see I made 208 wheel horsepower. And then you're going to see the modified box and then the short ram air intake box. I do the stock first. That way I give the stock air box the best chance of making the most power while the car's cold. And I do 3 or 4 pulls with each, and I average them. So I'm going to just show you like what was the average number for each of those. And like I said, the short ram air intake went last, right? So it should have the lowest number, and the hood's closed the entire time. And then after I do the hood close, I do a run with it open after I let the car cool down a little bit finally. And with the hood open, the stock air box is not gonna make more power. And same thing with the modified stock air box. It's not gonna make that much more power because it is a sealed container, right? But when I do the short ram air intake, there was a difference, right? And even on the road, there will be a difference because there will be air flowing into the engine bay from all the open, compartments in there. So the last run with that hood open actually is kind of closer to what I'm going to see on the road, because there wasn't a lot of airflow going into my car because I only used like 2 small fans. So that last pull is a direct reflection of like the gains you would see with the short ram air intake when you're on the road, because I still have my scoop going to the short ram air intake. You're actually going to see my new setup next week that I have with my short ram air intake. I use the turbo snorkel, and I have this is a whole modified box, but I'm not going to tell you if it's better or not, but there's a reason why I'm using it. So we're going to go to the video, and then afterwards I'll give you a quick, rundown on what's going on in the next video and what's going on with the shop I'm at. All right, so let's go ahead and watch that video, and then we'll come back and analyze the percentage of gains. And had I done my run with the dyno calibrated, how much I would have gained with my supercharger on there with the different intake setups. All right, so let's go to the video. All right, hey guys, I'm back at Speedy Root Motorsports, and today what we're gonna do, since I am starting Mazda Mondays, everybody's always concerned about hot air intakes and whatnot, and what I want to do today is determine if the short ram air intakes that they normally call hot air intakes actually improve performance, or is it just better to leave the stock air box. So today what we're going to do, we're going to test 3 different intakes, right? We're going to test a completely stock air box with the carbon filter and the paper air filter, right? After that, we're going to try a modified stock air box with the high flow K&N filter, and I'm going to remove the charcoal filter, and also I'm going to replace the... This is my stock air box. Under here, there's a charcoal air filter that came with the car, and also the paper air filter. It's the OEM filter, not an aftermarket one. So like I said, it's completely stock. The only addition in here that is not stock, there is a, I want to call it an air straightener in here. And it's still gonna make the same about the same numbers, because even though there is that blockage in there with that air straightener, I also kind of trimmed out some of the inside of this MAF housing, so it kind of offsets that. So yeah, this is going to be a completely stock air box, and then like I said, next we're going to try the modified air box, and then we'll do the short ram air intake with the hood closed to simulate being on the street with the hood closed. So if the hot air intake has lower numbers, we're going to find out right now. All right, I got Lance right here, who has probably the most powerful 4th gen right now. I mean, he does. But yeah, we'll find out shortly here in a second. So we're gonna go ahead and get all set up, and we're gonna test these intakes. So first pull, stock air box. I only took it to, it says I took it to 6,400, 208. That's with the stock air box on there, guys. I didn't recalibrate it, but I'm gonna leave it like this for right now. Switch it up and see what happens. Sorry guys, I haven't been catching the runs on there, but I just switched over from the stock air box to a K&N drop-in, and now the reading is 209. So we picked up 1.5 horsepower. Now the car is hotter, so technically that the showing this increase right here just lets you know that we actually are making power. All right, sorry I didn't get the runs on there, but now we're gonna switch over to our final intake, and we're gonna get the run with the short ram, and I'll make sure I record this with the hood still closed. Did a couple runs, and I messed up a couple times, so the engine was actually really hot when I did this. So if we made more power with this, then it's definitely worth it to have a short ram air intake. So we'll go find out. Did a couple runs, so this run was super hot. So let's see what happened. Okay, so with the short ram, we made 209.8, pretty close to the K&N with the stock air box. This run, the car was hot. I had ran it 3 times before I got a good run on it. So that is gonna replicate having hot air intake temperatures because the hood was closed. So there you go, guys. So pretty much from stock air box to a short ram, you pick up 2 horsepower. Not much, and these numbers are kind of similar to our 2.0, right? So that's what you're looking at if with the supercharger on a 2.0 liter, you're looking at picking up only 2 horsepower from going from the stock air box to the K&N, right? Not the K&N, or I guess K&N or the short ram air intake. So I'm actually going to recalibrate the dyno now because I want to get accurate numbers, but that's a better representation of what could happen for a 2.0 liter or a tuned 2.5 liter. They can expect 2 horsepower from an intake. And this car was hot, so The stock box had the best number, best chance of having a higher number than everything else because it was red when it was cold. The hood open. So with the hood open, made 214, and that's with some air running on it. Guys, we're gonna do 2 last runs. As you can see, I don't have the fans on the dang filter. I recalibrated the dyno so we can actually see what the power was. So that was the first run, recalibrated. You know, that number went from 214 to almost 250 right there. So we're gonna do one more run with it calibrated, see what we get. And this is my the base tune, the OTS off-the-shelf tune for the 4th gens. The 3rd gens, like I said, will make a little bit more power because they have more fueling available because their injectors are bigger. So you can expect at least 5 to 10 more wheel horsepower on the 3rd gens. All right, and also I have a little bit more drivetrain loss because this is an all-wheel drive model that's been disconnected from the rear diff to be front wheel. And also this is a cylinder deactivation model, so the torque converter is a little bit bigger. So the standard without the cylinder deactivation that's front wheel drive, it will make a little bit more power, and then also being manual, you'll make about 5 to 7 more wheel horsepower being manual transmission. So most of you guys should be expecting 255 to 260 wheel horsepower. So we're gonna go ahead and do another run. On the dot. Check it out. This is what we got, guys. Let me save this before I lose it. 250 wheel horsepower, torque a little low, but that's okay. I'm gonna save the results. My other run, I got 249, but I got more torque on it the last time. I had 242, but that's good. We got 250 wheel horsepower on this run. All right, guys, so you saw in the video, the hot air intake actually won. It was pretty fair. I ran the other intakes before it, and I did plenty runs. So the numbers you saw was like the average number. I didn't give you, I took out the high and the low, and I did the average. So the numbers that I did post were the horsepower that was in between, not the lowest one and not the highest. All right, so with the hood closed, there was only less than 1%. It was 0.7% change in power, right? So that's not that much. So on the cars that are like 200 horsepower under, you're gonna see like 1.5 horsepower. Not a crazy amount, right? Like I said, then once I actually let the car cool down, I saw, and I left the hood open, which is probably closer to what you're gonna experience on the road. The short ram air intake made 5 wheel horsepower. And that's on a car that would be around 200 horsepower. They can make up to 5 wheel horsepower versus the stock intake. So that was a 3% change in power, right? And that's when I didn't have the dyno calibrated. So if we do the correct calibrations, and I was making 250 wheel horsepower, with that 3% increase in power, that comes out to 8 wheel horsepower. So you could potentially, not saying you will, but you could potentially gain 8 wheel horsepower with your supercharger if you use the aftermarket short ram air intake versus the stock air box with the charcoal filter in there. All right, and it could be possibly more because that was on an old tune, and obviously my tune has got better, and you know I have the dyno now. So last week I actually finalized the tune like I was telling you. I haven't had a chance because that dyno was a couple weeks ago. I haven't had a chance to put it back on there. So the 2.0 tune is finalized and the 2.5 liter tune is finalized, right? So right now, on the older tunes, the cars are hitting around 260 wheel horsepower and 300 torque on the manual transmission. We're going to find out this Thursday. I'm going to go back on the dyno and find out how much the 2.5 liter hits with the automatic, and we're going to also find out that for the 2.0 liter. So in the next 2 weeks, we'll have dyno results for both, and that's all thanks to Speedy Rue Motorsports. And that's one of the biggest reasons why for this video this week is to let you guys know if you are interested in buying the VT supercharger, you can now buy it directly through Speedy Rue Motorsports. They're the U.S. distributor now. They're the only U.S. distributor for this kit. So you can go to, they have vtsupercharger.com now. It's a lot easier. If you need support, you can always call the shop. I'll be there, and we have another tuner that's going to be working on these kits. They not only sell Mazda kits, but they also do Toyota and Nissan. And there's actually Jeep kits. So most of these kits will use the same Eaton style compressor, but they are actually expanding. So we might have HKS kits. So we'll see. There's a lot of kits on the market, and they're planning on getting all of them. So the website just got launched this weekend. There's a lot of stuff they need to add to it. They're going to have all the supporting mods that you guys are going to want for the car, because if you're going to do the VT supercharger, it's like pretty much a requirement to get upgraded spark plugs and the low pressure fuel pump. So what they're going to do is we're going to make sure we have the best prices for these parts. So it's going to be a one-stop shop. So everything that you need if you want to upgrade your kit will be on their website. So I'm going to leave a link in the bottom if you are interested in the kit. And these kits used to cost $4,500. And I wasn't about to pay that. And so last year when, I negotiate. So I did I did a couple group buys. I think I did 3 of them. And I didn't want to pay, over $4,000. So I did this group buy, and I got the average group price down to $3,800 when the original price was $4,500 shipped to your door. So I got it for $3,800 shipped to your door. And right now, you don't even have to be in a group buy. You can just buy it directly from vtsupercharge.com for $3,700, which is cheaper than what I got my kit for originally. So you're saving $100 plus everything's already there. Everything's been figured out. Not everything, but just about everything. Because before, when I was buying this kit, we were still trying to figure out how to get rid of belt slip, how we're going to fix fueling issues. Mostly everything's been resolved, and the kit is pretty refined now compared to how it was when we, first were trying to figure out how it works. So there's guys that have almost 70,000 miles on their kit right now. No issues. I have over 25,000 miles on my kit. So if you guys are interested, the link's down there. Call the shop and they can get you set up with the kit and everything you'll need. I will have more dyno results next week for you, and we're going to keep testing products because I know you guys, want to find out, hey, does an axle back make power, or is it just pointless to put an axle back on? Is it just for sound? Well, we know the short ram air intake actually does make power, and I will show you my new short ram air intake setup, in the next week or two. But at this point, there's not many things left to do for power. So I am going to be focused on weight reduction, because at elevation, weight reduction is more important for me right now, because even though the dyno says I make over 250 horsepower, that's at sea level. Up here, I'm making 190 to 195 wheel horsepower. So weight is actually a big factor. So after this, I'm going to show you all the mods I did to reduce weight, which actually gives me more gains than, not more than a supercharger, but more gains than regular tuning. Because, with a natural aspirated tuning, you're maybe going to see 8 wheel horsepower gain. But that gain of 8 wheel horsepower is only at sea level, right? up here at 6,000 feet, that 8-wheel horsepower might only be 6-wheel horsepower. And if you guys are smart, like, you'll know that me reducing 200 pounds in weight in a car is going to do more for me than 6-wheel horsepower on a car that doesn't even have 200 horsepower. So that's it, guys. A short video. More dyno results coming. I'm going to be helping out at the shop to get the website, everything you guys want on it. So if you have a recommendation of what you would like on a website that you're not seeing, just leave a comment. Or if you have an idea of what you want to see on the dyno, leave a comment down there. And thank you guys for supporting me so far. And I have better videos coming. And like I said, there's still a lot of videos I already did that I haven't posted yet. Catch you later, guys.